There used to be a time where we learned and we taught reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I quickly realized that reading is no longer reading. Our students in many of our schools, they're no longer required to read a novel all the way through. They can read a focal passage and then be able to give you the gist or analyze that novel. Arithmetic isn't arithmetic anymore. I was always taught that 2 plus 2 is 4, and I don't know how I got to 4, but I know that it is 4, and now I have to explain how I got my response. In writing, well, writing is what my topic is about. The missing are reading and arithmetic. What is the impact of extended writing instruction on student performance? Still ain't clicking. I work at a school where there's approximately 105 8th grade students. And out of those students, only 12% of those students are proficient or on grade level in writing. And so in real numbers, real faces, real human beings, that is right around 13 kids. And so think about 13 kids out of 105 students. And Dr. James really just skimmed the surface about this whole social promotion thing. What is it that we're really doing? I'm going to skip the second one, and I'm going to go down to the third one. Nationwide, 27% of all students in grades 4, 8, and 12 are proficient or above their actual grade level when it comes to writing. Nationwide. In the district, we have 33%. The number's in red for a reason. That number is a cause for us to celebrate. Are we above the national average? Of course. Of course. And that is a reason for us to celebrate. However, when we look at the real deal and we just pull the covers back on that actual number, we have three high schools that scored 92%, 94%, and 89%. When I took that number away just from that number there, it brought it slightly below the national average at about 25.5%. Something hit me when John was speaking. He showed the schools that had students out of boundary. And when I looked at his slide, some of the same schools, and I didn't even look at the elementary schools. And so some of the elementary schools that he had on his list with the highest amount of students that are in boundary, those schools scored at 92%, 96%, 88%, 82%, all scored at proficient or above. And so really, if we take those higher performing schools off the list, is that really what we're doing? Is that number really true for us? I believe that this research is extremely important because oftentimes we skew our numbers to make it fit to what we want it to fit. And so when we talk about writing, kids can write. They can. They just can't write well. Most students can put words on a piece of paper. They can formulate sentences. They may not be grammatically correct, but they can. And so they do that. But just to think about how many students we have, large numbers of students who are sitting right around the basic level in writing. But we're moving those students on. Even more telling is from the National Assessment of Educational Process, or NAEP, the nationwide test, one of the nationwide tests that the students take. They said that only 1 in 100 students scored advanced on a writing assessment across the nation. So I decided that, hey, I might as well do something about it. I don't need to complain about it. Let's, roll up my sleeves and try to get some of this work in. And so at my school, we selected 7th, 8th grade students. These students had scored slightly below proficiency. And so we wanted to work with those students in an extended writing curriculum after school. These students were selected based off of their PARC assessment, which is the DC District statewide assessment. These kids were right around the 4.5, 3 level on that indicator. These students also took what we call the ANET, Achievement Network Writing Assessment, and they scored right around the same percentile as they did on the PARC writing assessment. So we really felt that those students would be really good candidates to see if we could push those kids to be above on their writing. And so I had to take myself out of it because I wanted the English department to do all the scoring and the grading. And so the English department used the PARC writing rubric. They only used one area of the rubric, and I'll go over that a little bit later. And so I met with the kids 2 times per week for 4 weeks. And this is what we came. The students they were asked to read 2 excerpts from 2 texts. The Joy Luck Club and the song this song will save your life. Both excerpts were about 2 girls who responded differently to the pressures of conformity. Students were asked to write an essay that argues which girl they believe demonstrated a better response to the pressure. They had to use evidence from both texts that included details, the characters' thoughts, feelings, and the pressures that the students faced. Day 1 and 2, real simple and easy. The kids were given that same assignment, no instruction. It was scored by the English teachers, and then they had an opportunity to ask questions and review the rubric. Day 5 was where it really got kind of interesting, because the students were given the exact same writing prompts again, but this time, in day 5, they were given an organizer, and they were asked to develop a claim. For my non-educators, a claim is, what position are you taking? Which person do you believe responded to the best, to peer pressure the best? And so they did that, and they had to find some evidence. In day 6, the students had to come up with a counterclaim. The counterclaim is the exact opposite. How would you think that someone else opposing your position would respond? That was a very difficult lesson, because the students, although they knew how they felt, it was difficult for them to come up with how someone else would another side of the story. And so we came up with these sentence stems for them. And so for their counterclaim, they could choose things like others may believe, or it can be argued that, or another person's perspective is. And so we went through these 8 days with these students. And then on the final day, they really had to put everything together. And they had to redo the exact same writing prompt. This is a rubric that they used. Could they demonstrate full comprehension of the actual task? Did they have any evidence? Could they develop a claim? Was their writing clear? Was it coherent throughout? And so I'm only reading what's in the category of 4, because 4 was the absolute highest. And these are the results for those students. In blue is what they did took the first time, and orange is after the instruction. There was growth. And so when I really looked at this particular set of data, I realized that most of the students who came consistently, those students were the ones who really did had performed the most growth. Yes, this was a very small sampling, because I felt like I needed to do something for my school because of the numbers that I saw in my school, in my situation. And so my recommendations would be to implement extended time using strategy-focused writing instructions, teach students how to write traditional essays. Oftentimes our kids are no longer writing traditional essays. And then I do believe that further research using a larger sampling to determine what the actual impact is on extended writing instruction.